My name is Robert Schniffner, and I'm an attorney in Moses Lake, Washington. And in November of 2018, I was on vacation in Victoria Falls. And I remembered from my favorite TV show that there was an orphanage in Victoria Falls. So I went there, and I ran into Sima and met a couple of her children. And as I was leaving, one of the young men, couldn't have been more than 5 years old, ran ahead of me to the gate and opened it. And as I passed through the gate, he said, "Thank you for thinking of us." And I call that the big tap on the shoulder moment in my life, where I knew the trajectory of my life had completely changed, and that what I needed to do was to help Sima with those children. And in June of 2019, I came back. I had this crazy idea, and I mean, it really was insane, to take all of her orphans and her caretakers on a 1,000-mile bus trip across Zimbabwe to a location called the Great Zimbabwe. I knew it was culturally significant to everyone in this country, and that most kids never get to see it. So we chartered a bus and stayed in nice hotels, and we drove across the country, and we pulled off this idiotic idea of mine, and that led to more involvement. So before I left the country in June of 2019, I spoke with Sima, and I said, "What's next?" And she got really defensive, and she said, "Oh, you've done so much, I can't ask any more." And I said, "You're not asking me, I'm offering." And we actually had kind of an argument for about 15-20 minutes before she finally relented and told me what she needed. And that was a new roof. The roof she had was made of asbestos, and it leaked. And the government kept on threatening to shut her down. And so before I left Victoria Falls, I found a contractor and had an estimate to replace her roof. And I took it and I showed it to my friend David Skog in Moses Lake, because he's a contractor, and I wanted to make sure that the materials and everything looked right. And David's response was to pull out his checkbook and write a check for the entire roof. And also I spoke with Sima before I left about what's after the roof. And she said she had a dream to have an elementary school. And that means in this country, preschool and kindergarten. Grades 1 through 7 are called primary, and grades 8 through 12 are called secondary. And she said that she wanted to build an elementary school on the grounds of the orphanage, so she could educate the children in her neighborhood at a relatively cheap cost. And we built the building. It opened in January of 2020. When I came back in December of 2019, as it was being finished, Sima proudly showed me the uniforms to her new elementary school, and she had named it Schniffner Elementary. And she could tell that I was not pleased with that. It was kind of embarrassing. And she told me that she ordered the uniforms and had them embroidered with that name before I showed up. So I couldn't talk her out of using that name. So I've gotten used to it. It's preschool, kindergarten. It also has drop-in daycare. And it serves about 40 to 45 kids. We have the highest test scores in Victoria Falls. And that led Sima to ask the government for land to build a complete preschool, kindergarten, uh, primary school, secondary school. And we've broken ground on that. We've broken ground on the school. Our first block of classrooms, the preschool, kindergarten, and first grade, are open. They were open in May of 2023. We're just about ready to complete the second, third, and fourth grades. Hopefully they'll be open in January, maybe not till February, but we're shooting for January. And then we immediately break ground on the next classrooms, 5, 6, and 7. And those classrooms have been paid for by others in the Moses Lake community. Chuck and Sarah Yarborough paid for the preschool. Alan White and Lynn Townsend White paid for the kindergarten. David Howard and Eric Skog and their wives paid for the first grade. A couple from San Diego named Vicky and Lenny Maffey have paid for the second grade, and we're looking for other sponsors for other classrooms. And just this last Tuesday we had our commemoration ceremony, and it was well attended, and Moses Lake Academy is officially open, and we hope to have it completely built in the next 2 years. Some of the other things that we've been doing, the Moses Lake community, is that we've helped do improvements around the orphanage. We put a new perimeter wall around the orphanage to keep elephants and rhinos and other animals from injuring the children when they play in the front yard. We've painted the place. We put solar water heaters on the roof. We put up a new cistern that holds 10,000 liters of water. So when the government interrupts Sima's domestic water supply, they still have water to cook and to drink and to flush toilets. She also allows her neighbors to come during those outages to take away 5-gallon buckets of water so they can do the same thing. The Moses Lake community is also helping the New Dawn's Girls Club, where we distribute food, feminine hygiene products, and other essentials of life to about 60 girls who live on the outskirts of Victoria Falls. Sad news is that girls without feminine hygiene product will not go to school for 3 or 4 days each month. And by getting them feminine hygiene products, they're able to continue their studies. And that's really important to their education. We also have been helping, Moses Lake community's been helping with the Rose of Charity farm. It's about 5 acres. It produces 10 different crops. Phil Hintz, manager of Trout Lake Farms in Moses Lake, is now on board and figuring out ways that we can make the farm more productive. And the more productive it is, the more crops we can sell and make more money for the Rose of Charity, and also do so in a way that is environmentally safe and environmentally conscious. And so the Rose of Charity is a Zimbabwean charity registered with the government. It's run by a woman named Sima, who is easily the strongest woman I've ever met in my life. She quit a well-paying job to open her home up to orphans and street children. And she's just somebody that you quickly learn that you need to support when you meet her. She's a leader of people and a fierce protector of children. I like the name Rose of Charity because her daughter named it. Her daughter said that a single rose blooming in the desert is a sign of both dignity and hope. and that they wanted to make a safe place for children to call home that would give them hope and dignity, and she has accomplished that. She protects children like nobody's business, and now she's educating them. And the only thing keeping Sima from reaching more people is money, frankly. And no dollar amount matters. A small amount, a large amount, we can put it to good use here. We are using the Grace Harvest Church in Moses Lake. So you make a donation in the name of the Rose of Charity to Grace Harvest, and then they transfer the money here to Zimbabwe, to Sima. And because you donated to a 501c3 in the United States, you get a tax deduction. Grace Harvest has been a great partner with us, and look forward to a continuing relationship with them. If you ever want to learn what faith is, you need to come and spend some time here in Victoria Falls. Even spending just a couple of hours with Sima Moyo, you'll learn what a brave person she is. I call her my Akashinga. The word Akashinga says the brave one, and that's what I call her, because she has faith, and she just has the ability to move forward, to look forward. She never looks back, and she is literally helping thousands of children in this area, and it's humbling to be a part of that, and I will continue to be a part of that. And I think this is my 11th trip now to Zimbabwe, and I enjoy each one. Of course, the most special moment is when I walk into the front courtyard and I'm overwhelmed with a tsunami of children running out of the orphanage and mobbing me. I become a human jungle gym, and it's a wonderful feeling that never gets old. And I encourage you to book a trip to Zimbabwe and to experience that yourself. These children are humble, and they are grateful. And if you show up in Zimbabwe, in Victoria Falls, and you say, I'm from Moses Lake, Washington, you will get an extra special welcome.